Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into the profound depths of Rumi's The Masnavi, Book 1. We've got some truly captivating passages here from a section we're just calling 10.pdf for now, just brimming with poetic allegories and surprising insights and, well, timeless spiritual wisdom. Our mission for you today is to really unearth those crucial nuggets, exploring how Rumi's ancient poetry can maybe illuminate your personal journey right now. So get ready to explore what it means to be truly well-informed, with some unexpected twists and plenty of food for thought. Okay, let's unpack this. Rumi opens with this really striking image, the soul as a bird trapped in a cage. And the reason it stays, simply because it's unaware. What does this powerful, almost heartbreaking metaphor immediately tell us about our own spiritual condition?
Well, it speaks directly to a core human experience, doesn't it? This sense that our consciousness, our awareness, often feels confined, maybe by our circumstances or like our limiting beliefs or even just the stories we tell ourselves. And Rumi pinpoints this unawareness, this lack of self-knowledge or maybe spiritual insight as the fundamental root of the soul's perceived imprisonment. He describes this confinement as a narrow cell, and what's fascinating, I think, is how he presents faith. It's not merely a belief system, right? But it's the only escape route from this internal hell. It's a profound shift in perspective, a kind of trust in a reality beyond our immediate cage. And he highlights something particularly insidious, too, the heavy chain of reputation's curse. Rumi says it's much worse than iron chains, which implies that, chasing external validation or the fear of being seen as suffering what's worse, that can bind us far more tightly than any physical restraint. It's a spiritual bondage, really, of our own making.
Right. So the first profound takeaway Rumi offers us is that genuine freedom isn't about breaking actual physical chains. It's an internal liberation. It starts with self-awareness and, I guess, the courage to detach from what others think of us. That's a challenging starting point, isn't it? And building on this idea of inner confinement, Rumi then tells us this deeply resonant story about a merchant and his caged parrot. He sets the scene. The merchant's getting ready for a trade trip to India, asks his household for requests, sort of thing, and then turns to his beloved caged parrot. And the parrot's request is just so poignant. It really hits you with a sense of longing. When you see the parrots there, please tell them all about my sad affair. Tell them a parrot pines continually to see you, but she's caged by fate's decree. You can almost feel the weight of its yearning to be free.
Absolutely. And the core of the parrot's message, really, it's a plea for connection, a desire to learn the faith you parrots practice. This reflects so deeply that human longing for spiritual community, for guidance, especially when we feel isolated or, as the parrot says, in exile. It asks, should I stay in this cage? Can this be right? Well, in the woods and meadows, you take flight. Now, this isn't just about fairness. It's a universal lament, isn't it?
Yeah.
About separation from one's true nature or spiritual kin. And Rumi adds this fascinating layer by mentioning Majnun's love for his Laili, which for anyone familiar with Sufi poetry immediately signals intense, suffering love as a potent path towards spiritual realization. Even deep pain, Rumi suggests, can be a transformative journey towards the beloved.
What's so powerful there is how Rumi takes these universal laments, longing, justice, and weaves them into what seems like a simple animal fable. He gives it such an accessible, yet really profound depth. So the story continues. The merchant arrives in India, sees the wild parrots, and keeps his promise, delivers the caged parrot's message. But the reaction is genuinely shocking. One of the birds shook violently, then dropped. She felt just like a corpse, her breathing stopped. And the merchant's regret is immediate, intense. I've killed this creature. What is left to lose?
Yeah, and this dramatic, almost violent event, it serves as a potent springboard for Rumi's commentary on the immense power of our words. Our tongue, he declares. The tongue and stone on iron are the same. What leaps out from your tongue's tip is a flame. Powerful stuff. He goes on to elaborate with that analogy of a field of cotton in the dark where a carelessly created spark, a single word, can ignite a devastating fire, destroying a world. And this isn't just about saying something mean, It's a profound warning about the destructive potential of thoughtless speech. It's capable of burning down reputations, relationships, even spiritual progress. So Rumi underscores the importance of self-restraint in what we say. He directly links it to our spiritual ascent. He says, you can ascend to God with self-control, while choosing sweets or, indulging in careless talk will make you sink farther from the goal.
Wow. So Rumi isn't just reminding us that words have power. He's saying the quiet discipline of our tongue is a direct measure of our spiritual elevation. It determines whether we rise towards grace or, sink into our ego. It really makes you think about every single word you speak.
Exactly. And from the power of words, Rumi then shifts our gaze to the mystic. an individual possessing true inner health. He states that such a person is not harmed one bit if he should drink down deadly poison knowingly, end quote. Now, this isn't literal, of course. It implies that for those with profound inner purity and a deep divine connection, their very being is so aligned that even what's toxic for others can be integrated without harm. He then uses that powerful analogy, Nimrod in you, don't approach the flame, become first Abraham. Nimrod represents inner tyranny, defiance against divine will. Abraham embodies unwavering faith, submission. So Rumi is calling for an inner transformation, urging us to cultivate the spiritual fortitude and alignment of Abraham before we engage with profound spiritual fires or challenges, things that could overwhelm a less prepared soul, you see.
That's a powerful analogy, and Rumi pushes it even further, doesn't he? Suggesting these perfected individuals whose hand is like God's hand possess an almost alchemical touch, turning earth to gold, while imperfect men turn gold to ash. What does this deep metaphor mean for us in our daily lives?
Right, it's not about literal alchemy. It signifies a state of being completely aligned with divine will, where actions are blessed, profoundly transformative. Rumi is suggesting that when you are truly aligned and you act from that place of inner purity, even your most mundane efforts can yield profound spiritual richness, transforming the ordinary earth of daily life into something precious, divine. We see this principle even in the story of the magician's deference to Moses, remember. Despite being there to challenge him, these men still showed Moses deference by saying, "You choose when." And this act of humility, of being subservient not necessarily to Moses the man, but to the truth he embodied, that earned them God's grace and symbolically cut their power, meaning it dissolved their egoic resistance to truth. Rumi emphasizes this by teaching, God told all men, listen. Just like a baby has to listen before speaking, truly hearing and internalizing truth rather than immediately trying to speak or assert is absolutely essential for authentic expression and, well, genuine spiritual growth.
So, humility and true listening, they aren't weaknesses at all. They're profound pathways to spiritual strength and insight. It's about absorbing truth before attempting to project our own version of it. Rumi offers another profound insight when he states that Adam's tears freed him from admonishment. What's the profound spiritual significance of tears, especially when described as the breaths to those who are penitent?
Tears. In Rumi's profound spiritual language, they are a powerful medium for purification, for sincere repentance, and a heartfelt reconnection with the divine. The idea of blending your tears with fire to make a sweet. It suggests this transformative process, where suffering, symbolized by fire, combined with spiritual release through tears, yields profound sweetness, purification, clarity. And he connects this idea directly to the discussion of spiritual food, urging us, empty your belly that you filled with bread, then fill it up with precious jewels instead. He draws a critical distinction between devil's milk, which is nourishment that feeds the ego, leads to ignorance, and lawful meals, which are true knowledge, wisdom, divine connection. The kind of nourishment that produces pure thought and love and tenderness.
So Rumi is basically telling us that what we consume, both literally and spiritually, directly impacts our inner landscape, the very quality of our thoughts and emotions. It's a remarkably holistic view of spiritual nourishment, isn't it? Okay, now let's return to our story. The merchant gets back home, deeply regretting what happened in India. He recounts the Indian parrot's apparent death to his own beloved caged bird. Shockingly, upon hearing this, his parrot also trembled, fell, was knocked out cold, seeming to die right there. The merchant's lamentation is heartfelt. He mourns his confidant and closest friend, but then the incredible mind-bending twist. He emptied out the cage just like a cup. The parrot fell out, but then flew straight up. What was this astonishing act? What profound secret did it actually reveal?
This is truly the central, the most potent metaphor of this entire deep dive, I think. The parrot's revelation to the completely dumbstruck merchant is simple yet profoundly counterintuitive. Since it's my voice for which I've been confined, she acted dead to bring this to my mind, to say, sweet singing bird, pretend like me, just make yourself look dead and you'll be free. Feigned death. That becomes the path to spiritual freedom from confinement. And Rumi expands on this by directly advising us to hide the seed and be a snare instead, and not to auction off his own best trait. Why? Because flaunting one's gifts or spiritual achievements can attract evil eyes, rages, jealousies, those very external forces that seek to trap or diminish us. The true refuge, he teaches, is found in God's grace, not in displaying your talents for the world to capture or exploit.
So Rumi gives us this deeply challenging truth. Sometimes the path to true freedom requires a kind of death, a letting go, or maybe even a strategic surrender of the parts of ourselves that are vulnerable to external capture or manipulation. It's about becoming spiritually invisible in a way to that which seeks to bind you. That's not what most self-help books tell you.
No, it's not. And it leads directly into Rumi's warning about the harm in being venerated by people and standing out. He explains that the cage-like body is the spirit's thorn fed by deceit from those you come upon with flattery. He describes such seemingly sweet praise as like a potion or a pill that slowly takes its course to be your arrogance and error's source. Its effects, like sugar, are far from view initially, but they can produce spiritual boils and these insidious afflictions that blind us to our true state.
And this isn't just about feeling good about yourself, is it?
Well,
So what does this all mean for our daily lives? It's a really stark warning against vanity, against relentlessly seeking external validation. Rumi advises, be self-abased, don't choose that tyrant's ways, so strive to be like slaves and not like kings. Be struck like balls, don't be the bat which swings. Wow. That's a powerful image of humility, isn't it? Allowing yourself to be moved by a higher force rather than trying to control everything.
absolutely. And he emphasizes the ultimate, almost chilling consequence. Those who falsely praise you will turn on you when your worldly beauty or status fades. They'll call you devil or even corpse. Rumi even suggests that Satan, the ultimate deceiver, will flee from those who become worse than him through their self-inflicted spiritual degradation fueled by arrogance. This isn't just metaphorical. It highlights a real spiritual trajectory where seeking self-aggrandizement actively moves you away from grace.
It's a challenging, almost harsh truth, but a vital one for genuine spiritual progress. True worth is never found in the fleeting adulation of others. It has to be an internal, divinely granted realization.
Rumi then shifts, quite profoundly, to the concept of God's absolute sovereignty, stating, what we've said is a basis, not the end, but for God's favors we're worth naught, my friend. He explains that all our skills and talents, everything we think we possess, are gifts from God, temporarily lent to us, which will be returned on Judgment Day, you'll see, just as they do when from your sleep you wake.
He highlights God's ultimate control over even memory and forgetfulness, how he empties from men's hearts thoughts at night and pours them in their hearts once more by day. This really illustrates our complete reliance on divine will, even for our most basic cognitive functions. And this recognition of divine sovereignty, it leads to a deeper understanding of true love, doesn't it? Rumi says, words aren't for lovers to reflect upon. What then are words? Around vines they're a thorn. Word, sound, and speech I strike relentlessly, so I can talk to you without these three.
What profound, sort of ineffable connection is he pointing to here?
This speaks to a transcendent, direct communion with the divine, something far beyond the limitations of language and form. It's the concept of fana, a central Sufi idea meaning the annihilation of self. Not in the sense of ceasing to exist, but rather the individual ego, the I and we, dissolving and merging completely into the beloved. As Rumi puts it, one is effaced, you are that none. It's a profound surrender of the separate self. He connects this to Rumi's idea of God's jealousy. Not human envy, of course, but a divine desire for exclusive devotion from the soul. And how unpleasantness from him my soul thinks nice. Grief and pain, when accepted as gifts from the beloved and transcended through this annihilation of self, can be transformed into spiritual pearls. It's a challenging but ultimately liberating idea that our suffering, when viewed through the lens of divine love and self-effacement, can become a direct path to deeper union and understanding.
Exactly. Rumi then powerfully urges us to persist in struggle till you meet your end, so that your final breath may be the one which wins the gift of mystic union. This emphasizes the profound importance of continuous, unwavering spiritual effort throughout life. It's a journey of persistence. And he revisits that beautiful metaphor of the inner garden. Your own heart's garden is so fresh and green, a source of constant spiritual renewal where your fall is replaced by spring. This suggests that despite outward seasons or difficulties, there's an eternal spring within the heart of the true seeker.
And finally, a truly provocative and radical thought from the parrot's ultimate wisdom. The parrot's dying showed her neediness. Now make yourself a corpse, feel even less, that Jesus' breath might serve as your cure. What is the ultimate wisdom here for us beyond the story? What does feel even less really mean?
Yeah, feeling less. It doesn't mean apathy or emotional suppression in the way we might think of it today. Instead, it represents a profound detachment from the ego and its constant demands, its desires, its attachments to worldly things. It's about shedding the ego self, like a lifeless body, to allow the divine life symbolized by Jesus' breath, a reference to divine inspiration and spiritual resurrection, to infuse and resurrect the true spirit within. This, Rumi implies, is the ultimate freedom that the parrot's astonishing act embodied, a liberation achieved through profound inner detachment and surrender.
It's such a powerful and challenging call to a complete inner transformation, showing us that sometimes the greatest strength comes from letting go of what we think defines us. What an incredible deep dive into the Masnavi and Rumi's timeless wisdom today. From the soul as a caged bird longing for freedom, to the profound power of our words, the insidious dangers of external validation, and that transformative journey of divine love. We've truly explored some profound lessons.
Absolutely. Rumi offers us not just poetry, but a practical, if challenging, roadmap for personal insight. Applying these truths to our lives, encouraging us to look inward and seek refuge in the deepest grace.
Yeah, the idea that pretending death can lead to ultimate freedom, or that our suffering can produce spiritual pearls, it really challenges our everyday assumptions, doesn't it? It leaves you with a question to maybe ponder long after our deep dive ends. What parts of yourself might you need to kill or let go of to truly be free and allow your own inner spring to flourish? Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into Rumi's profound world. We really hope this exploration has given you new insights and perhaps a spark for your own spiritual journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep connecting with the deeper currents of knowledge. Thank you for being part of our last-minute lecture family.